Today, all of the horses are going to be seen by my regular vet.
Come on, boys.
It's always nice to catch all of the horses up so they are ready for the vet when she finally gets here. It took me a few extra minutes to catch up Pete and Goose this morning, but for these boys that isn't too bad. While the vet is here, Ziggy is going to get a once-over. He is also going to get a rabies vaccine. All of my horses get vaccinated for rabies every 3 years, I think it is now. Nigel is going to get vaccinated, and then we are also pulling some blood on Nigel, Frisco Bill, and Studman. We will be testing them for some metabolic disorders just to make sure I'm feeding them properly and they are getting any medication that they may need. I don't suspect that Frisco has anything going on with them, but it's always good to check just to make sure. Something really exciting that's happening today is I'm vaccinating Scarlet for the first time. Well, not the first time. She's been vaccinated before, but it was pretty hairy because she was still very much a wild horse at the time. The safest place for me to vaccinate an unhandled horse is in my trailer. I do have a stud divider in there, so it's like a little slot I can put them in and handle them relatively easily. This will be the perfect learning opportunity for Scarlet when I went to vaccinate her. I did hit a little bit of blood, so I'm going to have to try again. I use a fear-free approach when I'm doing vaccines on these younger, less experienced horses. They get a few treats before I poke them. Scarlet's actually holding them in her mouth, and then after they stand still for the vaccine, I give them a few more treats. This just helps make sure that there's a positive association with the vaccination process, even though it is pretty uncomfortable for them. Scarlet does have a lot of scarring on the right side of her neck from being bitten. I think it's from a stallion bite when she was just a baby. I like to use a smaller gauge needle on these young sensitive horses. It seems to work a lot better if they can handle standing still for a tiny bit longer. The first shot I gave Scarlet was a 7-way. It's her yearly booster, and now I'm going to give her her rabies vaccine, hopefully on the opposite side of her neck. I do like to do each side of the neck if I'm doing 2 different vaccines, just in case they do have a reaction. I know exactly which one it's from. I know Scarlet's going to be a little bit more sensitive on this side, but I wasn't anticipating her having such a big reaction. While my vet ran and got a few more treats for her since I did run out, I am going to give her a little bit of scratches on that side she's a little bit sensitive on. She has been really reactive on this side since I got her, and she's finally just started to warm up to me scratching it where all those lumpy bumpies are on her neck from her stallion bite. I would like to try again to vaccinate her on this side, but I'm thinking it might be more productive if I just do it on the same side as the other vaccine, just do it a little bit farther away. This is something I do a lot differently than I was actually taught. A lot of people will do a kind of sneaky stab just to get the vaccine in as quick as possible, and horses get smart to that pretty quickly. I really like to make sure they can actually accept being poked so they're not running all around, and it's a lot safer for the handler and the horse in the long run. Every once in a while, I will get offered a free horse because the vet cannot give them any kind of vaccines or pull blood just because they've had such a horrible experience with this in the past. This type of basic handling is really important for me because it does actually keep the horses safe when they go to their new home. A horse that is easier to handle is going to have a higher chance of staying in a good home for the majority of their lives. For Scarlet's first real visit with the vet, I think she did exceptionally well. We were going to pull some blood today, but because she was getting a little bit excitable, I decided to hold off on that until another day. Since everybody was all tied up and ready to go, once the vet left, I could spend some time doing a little bit of cleaning up around here. With Ziggy, Studman, and Gus in this smaller dry lot, the poop does kind of pile up quite quickly. I've been seeing this little thing on the internet that you pull behind the four-wheeler and it kind of scrapes up all the poop for you. I think it would work really well in one of these dry lots, so I might invest in one of those. I am a little bit skeptical if it's going to work as well as everyone claims, but I think it would help me be able to zip through these dry lots more quickly. I have been having a bit more trouble with my back, so I'm really trying to eliminate any chores where it might put any extra stress on it. The setup at this barn is pretty nice, but I know when I get my own place, I'm going to do my best to make it a little bit more efficient for cleaning and just generally taking care of the horses. The round bales have been really nice. I am not nearly as covered in hay as I usually am. I'm trying to decide how many round bales I want for the winter and calculate that into my overall hay cost because that is a big investment that is coming up. One of the reasons that I really needed to get the horses vaccinated for rabies is because of all of these little gophers. They have gotten really brave over the last couple of weeks. Huckleberry has been staying at home a lot because it has been rather hot out here. I really don't have a place where he can stay cool. I have a bunch of fans for the horses, but that doesn't really cut it for Huckleberry. It does seem like when Tiny is down for her afternoon siesta, these little gophers come out in droves to inspect the barn and get any pieces that the horses may have left. This little guy was almost brave enough to climb right in Gus's feed pan and steal his food. All of the horses are getting bute today just to help with the general swelling and inflammation in their neck. I'm kind of surprised these gophers are getting so close to Gus. I think if Huckleberry wasn't around, I would try harder to make these little guys my friends. I've managed to train the majority of them to stay out of the horses' pens and build their little burrows other places. But this chubby little bugger has figured out where all of the best food gets left, so I've been seeing him quite often. Since all of the horses did get vaccinated, I'm gonna wait until tomorrow to do anything else with them. Whiplash and Goose have been a little bit slow to come in the morning. I think they just want to stay out and get extra snacks. Eventually they end up moseying their way back into the dry lot for some breakfast. Hey babe. Come on. Goose did seem a little bit depressed today. He did have a little bit of a tricky time getting vaccinated yesterday. He is a very sensitive boy. Stewie has also really been picking on him, so I wouldn't be surprised if he just doesn't want to come in the dry lot because he's finally given up on trying to be Whiplash's number 2. All of the horses are going to get the day off today just so they can rest and make sure their necks aren't too sore. Huckleberry and I are going to spend the day catching up on chores, and hopefully tomorrow all the horses will be ready to go back to work. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.